All right, so we're on 3.3 day 2. You should have a unit circle. You should know what it is, what it does, all that good stuff. If you do not, you need to go back and watch that video before watching this one. All right. So we have our unit circle. It'd be very handy if you have yours next to you to always refer to throughout this. We talked about how SOHCAHTOA is opposite over hypotenuse, how, the different ones are different or whatever. So we, if we think about this being our triangle here, so this is our radius, this over here would be our opposite, this over here would be our adjacent. This is also the height, so it is the y value, and this is x value. So sine is y over r, but in the unit circle, r is the hypotenuse, and again, in the unit circle, the hypotenuse is 1, so sine is just y. Cosine is x over r, which is x over 1 for the unit circle, which is just x. Tangent, no matter what, is always y over x. Okay, so it is opposite over adjacent, but notice that's the y value over the x value. That also means that since y is equal to sine theta, tangent is also equal to sine theta over cosine theta. We'll need to know that later. You don't need to know it for your unit circle quiz, but it is helpful to know later. Remember that all of these other trig identities are the reciprocals of the ones next to them. So sine and cosecant are reciprocals, cosine and secant, and then tangent and cotangent. All right. We can figure out what is positive and what is negative just by the quadrant. So if you think about the sine value is the y value. Well, the y value in quadrant 1 is positive. The y value in quadrant 2 is positive. The y value in quadrant 3 is negative. And in 4 is negative. Cosine are your x values. So that was y. This is x. So that's positive, negative, negative, positive. Going in order in case you forgot. This is Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Okay? And last is tangent and cotangent. So y over x and x over y. So divide those two. So positive divided by positive is positive. Positive divided by negative is negative. Negative divided by negative is positive. And positive divided by negative is negative. So that kind of helps you just know, should my answer be positive or should it be negative? This is a video where I don't want to spend tons of time going over this. So I'm just going to kind of go across the 30 degrees and then leave you to fill out the rest. These notes are completely filled out on class notebook. So if I look at my unit circle and I look at the y value at pi over 6, I notice that it's 1/2. I notice that the x value is square root of 3 over 3. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2, so cosecant theta is that. The rest of these require a little bit of work. So for tangent of 30 degrees, the y value at 30 degrees was 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2. I'm actually going to take the long way here. So that's 1/2 times 2 over square root of 3. The 2's cancel. 1 over square root of 3. Got to rationalize that because it is not proper to keep that radical in the denominator. So that's square root of 3 over 3. Whew, lots of work. If that confused you, pause the video, slow down, rework it, open it back up, ask questions. Okay. I wrote down cosine wrong. So if you've been yelling at me through the video, I fixed it. All right, so secant of 30 degrees would be the reciprocal, which is 2 over square root of 3. I'm going to rationalize that again, and that is 2 square root of 3 over 3. And then for cotangent, I could just do the reciprocal of what I wrote there for tangent, but it's actually much easier to do the reciprocal of this answer because the reciprocal of that answer is just square root of 3. All right, so I'm leaving 45 and 60 to you. But know that any of those reference angles, so like all the pink lines there, right? They all have the same sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, cotangent, except for the signs may change according to which quadrant they're in. Okay? That all works together. And the more we practice with that, the more sense that makes. Okay? There are special things that happen with our 0, 90, 180, and 270. So again, this is for you to go through. So if I look at 0 degrees, the y value is 0. The x value is 1. 0 divided by 1 is 0. Remember, so if I'm thinking about the reciprocal of 0, I put a number over 1. So the reciprocal of that is actually 1 over 0. Well, I can never divide by 0. That's not okay. So if I cannot divide by 0, then I say that it's undefined. The reciprocal of 1 is just 1. And cotangent is another example. The reciprocal of 0 is undefined. Fill out the rest of those. Check them in class notebook to save your time. Okay. So sine 45, cosine 30, tangent pi. There's some for you to practice. Remember, this is the y value, the x, and y divided by x. All right, I am going to pause here. We're not actually going to play bump. Instead, I've left you a maze this year. If it's another year and I left you another activity, I'm sorry. I will tell you that in class. But this year, we are going to do a maze activity that I've left for you. You can work on that here just for more practice if you would like. And then I'll let you pick up for part 2.